Welcome to my first video on this channel. If you guys didn't know, I'm doing a little rebranding where I'm basically combining my main channel and my shorts channel together. Since I can't transfer videos from my main channel to my shorts channel, I'm just gonna leave my main channel behind and make this channel my new main channel. So on my old channel, I used to post a bunch of gaming videos and I never really liked doing IRL content. Well, things have changed. I won't be posting as many gaming videos anymore because I'm transferring my focus onto IRL content. You guys will be seeing more of my life and my personality, and I can't wait for what the future will bring us. So since this is my first video on this channel, I want to leave a good impression. To start off this channel, I'm going to be showing you guys how I spend 1 week of my life building anime display cases. A little context as to why I'm building anime display cases is because at the start of the summer, I became a huge anime fan. And this is ironic because I used to be an anime hater. I thought anime was for losers, but now I don't believe that anymore. Why? Character growth. The main 3 animes that got me hooked were Jujutsu Kaisen, Rurouni Kenshin, and Graves of the Fireflies. I had never cried watching movies before until I watched Graves of the Fireflies. The week after I watched it, pure depression. That's when I realized that anime can touch your heart in a way where it either makes your heart jump from excitement or it absolutely shatters your heart into pieces. After I got into anime, my YouTube recommendations started getting filled with a bunch of anime stuff. But then I started getting recommended anime collection videos. People go as far as spending $17,000 on manga, figures, and etc. I thought that was crazy. People really are taking their obsession way too far. There's no way I would even think about buying an anime figure. $318.81 on eBay, $185.05 at Good Smile US, and $85.16 on Amazon. I dropped over half a rack without a single thought. So where will I put these figures in manga? I came across this video from a guy named Battletide, and he's posted a few tutorials on display cases. So a summary of how to make a display case is that you need to buy an IKEA Detolf. Buy some lights to apply to the Detolf to highlight your figures, manage the cables with zip ties, and get a riser so that your Detolf is not too close to the ground. One little problem, the IKEA Detolf was discontinued in January. To be honest, I wasn't too bothered because I found this bootleg version on Amazon that looks almost exactly the same. I bought 2 of those bad boys. It was $265. And got to work on building the riser. I modeled this riser on Roblox Studio to help me calculate the right measurements. You can see that the top of the riser sinks down a little bit. That's basically where the 2 display cases will sit in. Now the display cases are around 80 pounds each, so the riser needs to be strong enough to sustain over 160 pounds. That's why I'm going to be putting 6 4x4 pillars inside the riser to act as the main structure that is holding the display cases. The bottom of the pillars will have foot pegs that will sink into my carpet to help prevent wobbliness. These pillars will be wrapped around by 3/4 inch thick wood. The riser will be 35.5 inches wide, 17 inches long, and 10 inches deep. The 4x4s themselves will be 7 3/4 inches tall, leaving enough room for the top board, which is 35.5 inches by 15.5 inches by 0.75 inches. How did I get these measurements, you ask? When the display cases arrived at my home, I had to measure how tall the base was from the ground. The bases had foot pegs, so I had to account for those too, and it was approximately 1.5 inches tall. I subtracted the 1.5 inches from how tall the riser is, which is 10 inches, and got 8.5 inches. I also had to subtract how thick the top board was, which is 0.75 inches, and got 7.75 inches, which is how tall the pillars will be. My plan for how long and wide the bases will be based on the dimensions of the bases. See, I want the display cases to sit inside the riser with 1/2 inch gaps between the bases and the walls. So I measured the bases, which turned out to be around 14.5 inches long and 16.75 inches wide, double the width because there are 2 display cases, added 2 inches for the gaps, and added 1.5 inches for the wood thickness, which total up to be 37 inches. For the length, I added 1 inch for the gaps and 1.5 inches for the wood to 14.5 inches and got 17 inches. But now the boards are overlapping, so I had to take away 1.5 inches off the width, which got me 35.5 inches. Now I know that was a lot, but I'm explaining all of this to you guys just in case you want to make your own display case riser. Since the design for the riser has been completed, it's time to get the materials. I'm going to need wood, wood glue, screws, grout, clamps, strap clamps, spray paint, measuring tape, a tarp, a drill, a saw, a router, a sander, a leaf blower, foot pegs, and finally, a father. That part's very important. I bought all of these materials at Home Depot and Menards. When I was buying the wood, they came in multiple sizes. The specific wood I wanted had to be 10 inches wide and long enough to make all 4 walls of the riser. The thing about buying wood is that they are never the exact size you want. They had the 10-inch wide board I wanted, but after I measured it, the board turned out to be 9.5 inches wide. So I said, F it, we're buying this. And I gave the board to a Home Depot employee to cut. The same story happened when buying the 4x4s because 4x4s aren't actually 4 inches. They're more like 3.5 inches. So I said, F it, we're buying this one too. And I gave it to a Home Depot employee to cut. Unfortunately, they couldn't cut it because the board was too thick for their saw. So I said, F it, we're cutting this thing at home. Fortunately, we did have a saw at home. Unfortunately, the saw was too puny to cut the 4x4 all the way through. So my dad had to cut one side, turn it over, and cut the other side, which can make the cuts very uneven, but we didn't have a choice. The pillars also had to be half an inch shorter since the 10-inch board was 9.5 inches, which made the pillars 7.25 inches tall. So now I have all the walls and pillars cut. All I need is the top board. I found this plywood board at Menards for $5 and cut it using this very rusty saw that looked like it would give me super tetanus. Looks like all the wood is ready now. It is time to assemble. The color of the riser will be black, so I had to get the bases of the display cases and spray paint all the sides black except for the side where the glass fits in. That side will be left as white. I then grabbed all the walls of the risers, glued them together using Gorilla Wood Glue, and strap clamped them to dry. Once they dried, I took off the clamps and screwed the boards together using these 3-inch cabinet installation screws from Menards to help reinforce the wood together. Before screwing, make sure you drill a hole. Before screwing, make sure you drill a hole through the wood first and then screw to not accidentally crack the wood. I later screwed the 6 4x4 pillars into the walls and covered the screws with grout. I finally sanded the entire riser to make it smooth, and I also had to sand the sides of the top board to make it fit into the riser, rounded the corners to not have sharp edges, and boom! The riser has officially been built. It's now time to spray paint. After the paint dried, my dad installed the foot pegs and drilled 2 holes in the wall for the LED light cables. If you're building a riser, make sure during the process you use a leaf blower or something to blow away all the dust and scraps, because getting that stuff in your eyes and breathing it in feels like getting pneumono-ultramicroscopic local volcanoconiosis. I don't know if that made sense. That was just an excuse to use that word. We moved the riser into my room, and now it's time for the Detolf Arc. I know the display cases are not Detolfs, but display cases have way too many syllables, so I'm just gonna call them Detolfs.
Black hole sun, so bright when it burns, so dark when it's done. So hard to relate to one when I find myself tripping off that blunt, tripping off this blunt. So I might be blunt if I do confront you. Don't run, don't run from the black hole sun.
How the heck that thing can drive?
What the hell? What the hell?
The Detolfs are officially completed! I forgot to mention that if you have 2 display cases, obviously there would be 2 light plugs. Now my plugs will be plugged into my Gobi smart outlet to control them from my phone, but the problem is, they don't actually fit. I had to take some time sanding the sides off until they could fit nicely into the smart outlet. It is now time to add my figures, which have been waiting for weeks to be put on display. For the first shelf, I will be putting all the characters from the Silent Voice poster. I bought these acrylic figures from Temu because unfortunately, Silent Voice figures are not a thing. I don't know why Yuzuru is taller than Shoya even though she's placed in the back. It seems like Temu made these characters fit the acrylic stands rather than having the acrylic stands fit the characters. On the second shelf, I'm putting all the Pop-Up Parade Jujutsu Kaisen characters I have, starting with Gojo Satoru. He came in with a second head that showed his glistening blue eyes. Next up is Zen and Mami Amimaki. This particular figure was making me anxious. I was trying to attach her spear together without it breaking, and you can literally hear the fear in my voice.
Go in, please. Please, I ain't joking around. Please go in. Just please go in. What the f? That's the quiz.
So, Ben made a cameo in this video. If you guys don't know who Ben is, he's my best friend who's been on countless videos before on my old main channel. It seemed like he sensed that I was putting my figures on display, so he just teleported into my house. Coming up after Maki is Nanami Kento. May he rest in pieces. The next figure is the one who avenged him. You guessed it, Itadori Yuji. Like Gojo, he also came in with a second head, which was Sukuna's head. With this treasure, I summon Megami. Look at him getting his swag on. The lighting is absolutely terrible. I accidentally put away my softbox light before I filmed this. The last character I have left is Inamaki Toge. Moving on to my third shelf will be all my One Punch Man figures. I got both Tatsumaki and Fubuki from the Espresso collection, and also got Tatsumaki and Fubuki from the Relax Time collection. I also bought the Banpresto Saitama and Genos, but they haven't arrived yet at the time of recording this. Don't worry, you guys will see them later. The final shelf will be where I put my plain models. Fun fact, the reason why there's a 2-month gap between my last video and the video before that was because I was grinding War Thunder. My soul was sold to the snail at the time, if you know what I mean. The second Detolf will start with 2 characters from one of my favorite anime movies of all time, Taki and Mitsuha from Your Name. Below that will be my Rurouni Kenshin figures. I only have one at the moment, which is Shishio Makoto, but he looks cold just standing there alone. The third shelf is planned to have a bunch of slice of life characters, but the only slice of life characters I have right now are these Kitagawa Manin figures from the Title Corfu collection. That's all the figures I had at the time, and there's still one more shelf left, so I just put my Silent Voice manga there so that the shelf wasn't empty. And there we have it, a finished anime display area made with 2 bootleg Detolfs and a custom-made riser. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. This took so much time to plan the build, and I'm glad I was able to do it. I would like to thank my dad for helping me build everything, and I would also like to thank Ben for helping me open the figures. So that was my first video on this channel. Did I make a good impression? Would you consider subscribing with notifications turned on? If you do, then great. I have so many more videos I can't wait to post and share with you guys. I know I didn't have many clips of me going shopping or building the riser, but that's because, to be honest, I didn't know if I was going to be making this video. But hopefully you guys will come back for more, and with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace! That's right, I'm keeping that outro. Real ones know. Okay, that's the video guys, see ya.